the songs you listen to on the radio, the TV shows you have on in the background of your home when you're doing laundry, the movies you sit down with your family to watch. Have you ever thought about the long-term effect these everyday activities have on your mind? Have you ever thought about how tuning into certain forms of media affect how you experience your overall life? Whether you have or haven't, you're going to want to keep your ears tuned into this one if you care about you and your family's well-being. I never spent one thought thinking about this in the past. It wasn't until I dropped out of nursing school and I started my personal research on the power of our minds was when my eyes really started to open and I realized something that the general public is blind to. So many people are not aware of the extent of the effect these things have on them. And if you're already thinking, okay, whatever, it can't be that bad, right? I invite you to listen to this full episode and think again. Welcome to another episode of Shattering Reality. I am your host, Sabrina Weibel, and on this podcast, we break through the common limitations of modern reality and expand your thinking as we delve into topics of quantum physics, spirituality, channeling, and much more. Nothing is off the table here as we work to uncover human behavior and the secret powers of the mind and universe through discussing esoteric and sometimes controversial topics. In today's episode, we talked about what may be brainwashing the masses of people and what you can do about it. This is a topic that I've felt called to speak on for years, literally years. So I'm really excited to share it with you today, break down some basics of the science behind this stuff, and speak more of the message that I feel so passionately to share with you guys and bring more hope and positivity to our way of living. So with that being said, let's get into the episode. Do you ever notice when you get a new car, you suddenly start to see that same car everywhere you go? Like, oh, look, there's one near me in the Target parking lot. And oh my God, I'm seeing them all over the highway now. And I just realized one of my neighbors has the same one. Is everyone just now getting this car, or am I just now noticing them all around me? Or did you ever watch those videos in grade school where they tell you to count the number of basketballs on the screen? So your eyes get glued onto counting the basketballs. You count 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Look at me, like I'm going to get all the number of basketballs right. And then when the video is over, the teacher says, "Now, did anyone notice the big man in the gorilla suit who was dancing in between all the basketball players?" And you're like, "What big gorilla?" Something so bizarre your mind completely deletes simply because your eyes were focused on counting the basketballs. Our minds are mysterious, powerful, and are responsible for much more than just deciding what you're going to have for breakfast that morning and taking your school exams. As our focus shifts, so does what we take note of in our everyday life. As our focus shifts, our minds point out different scenarios, things, people, and experiences, and quote unquote delete other scenarios, things, people, and experiences that are outside of our range of focus. As our focus shifts, we begin to perceive life through whatever lens our focus is on. How what we put our focus on change the way we experience our everyday life. Like, you know, when you're really pissed off and literally everything makes you mad, like your cat meows and you're like, for the love of God, don't meow right now. Like, I don't know if that's just me. I have a very vocal cat, but you just see everything through this lens of anger, right? And when you're going through a really hard time and you're feeling depressed, it's like everything makes you sad. You're seeing the world through the lens of sadness. When you're in a happy-go-lucky mood, it's like nothing can bring your mood down. Where your focus is at determines really how you experience life itself, like your perspective, your perception. It's the lens of which you view life out of. I learned as I was studying the science behind the subconscious mind that because our conscious minds can only hold on but to so many bits of information at a time, there's this filtering system that's inside of our brains called the reticular activating system, or RAS for short, that will accept the information of which we focus on, believe to be true, and have a lot of emotion behind. All other information that comes into our sphere of existence will be deleted or distorted. And because this influences so much of our overall well-being, I'm going to repeat this and stay with me here because this is all going to come together. There is a filtering system inside of our brains that only filters in the information of which we already focus on, already believe to be true, and already have a lot of emotion behind. Everything else in our reality and our world that we perceive Everything else gets deleted or distorted. It makes sense why when you get this new car, how your mind all of a sudden starts to point out the same car. Or why your mind deletes the information of the big dancing gorilla as you're so focused on counting the basketballs. So what determines what your focus is on? What determines how you perceive life itself? How you experience life itself? You might think you have control over what you're focusing on. After all, it's your own mind. You have the say to what you think and do, right? To answer this question, let's walk through the average American's daily lifestyle. Wake up from your alarm, turn on the morning news. You see shooting last night at a mall, 11 killed. Another forest fire running rampant. 27-year-old woman missing, ex-boyfriend is a suspect. Thoughts automatically start coming into your mind, whether you're aware of them or not. Man, the world is literally burning down. Oh, it's really not safe to be out, and I need to be really careful about who I'm around. On your drive to work, you listen to your favorite songs that just so happen to remind you of your most recent breakup. You feel the same emotions of anger and betrayal stir within you. At work, your coworkers are complaining that they don't make enough money. You agree with them. They talk about how the government is screwing everyone over and how the world is such a dangerous place. You say, yeah, it sucks, right? World is crazy nowadays. On the drive home, you listen to your favorite crime podcast. Chills run up your spine as you listen to how this man repeatedly enjoys to kidnap and stab women. As you're locked into the thought process of how could this man enjoy this so much? You hate it, but it brings you in, right? As you eat dinner and wind down for bed, you watch SVU, Law and Order, watching more people being taken advantage of, more people getting harmed, more evidence that people have negative intentions. At the end of the day, you've experienced thoughts and emotions correlated with fear, stress, anxiety, worry, because of what you have tuned into. None of these emotions and thoughts even came from you, even derived from you. They all came from around you, sources outside of you. Now, what do you think comes of having these types of things in our environment? You might think like, oh, it's not that bad, or it can't be that harmful. Or you might say, okay, the world is a bad place, Sabrina, so why would I lie to myself and tell myself it's not? Like, these are actual things that are happening out in the world. The thing is your mind can't tell the difference between what is imagined and what is real. So day after day, your thoughts are calibrating to the energy and emotions of fear, stress, and angst. The hormones of cortisol and epinephrine are flooded through your bloodstream, activating your fight or flight system, increasing your heart rate, shooting up your blood pressure. As blood is being pulled to the heart, blood is being pulled away from the brain and other vital organs. When you're stressed, blood pulls away from the prefrontal cortex in your brain, which decreases your decision-making skills, decreasing your digestion, cue the abnormal weight gain. Our immune system immensely decreases. You might think, okay, Sabrina, this might seem a little dramatic, like I'm not putting myself into a state of radical fear all day, every day, like this isn't happening to me. And my response is, you don't need to be putting yourself into a place of radical fear every day. All you need to activate the fight or flight system of the body is any kind of stress for it to take over your autonomic system like that. This can very well be the song that activates the way that you felt during a toxic relationship, or a movie where there's just simply yelling or fighting. This can be so subtle, but the effects it has on your mind and body are so monumental, especially over time. All around us is noise, driving the focus of our minds for us when we think we're the ones with our hands on the wheel. Where focus goes, energy flows. What your focus is on, you will create more of. Day after day, your body becomes more and more primed to be in these states, to think these thoughts, to feel these emotions, until we're all similarly programmed to say things like, money's tight, paired with the emotion of angst. Be careful, the world is crazy nowadays, paired with the emotion of fear. I have to work these amount of hours to pay the bills, paired with the emotion of stress. Almost like cloned little robots. But what about all the good people in the world? What about all the people who want to do good and who are doing good actively? What about all of the positive inventions being made to help the environment? Where's the love in all of this? Where's the joy? Where's the life? We're out here wanting to live an enjoyable life, but stuck in cycles of stress and states of fight or flight that a lot of us don't even know who we are outside of all the chaos and noise. Brainwashed to believe that this is how life is supposed to be, that this is just how life is. You just have to work your life away, and money is hard to come by, and the world is a scary place. Is that really how life is? Or is that just what we've been putting our focus on? Again, and again, and again, until that's all we see. Brainwashed, only looking at the destruction, the fear, the hate, and completely deleting and distorting all of the love and the beauty and the wellness and the goodness and the magic and the miracles that are happening around us. And that's only the surface level of what's going on. What I'm about to explain next is more mind-blowing than how these things simply redirect our focus. What researchers have found is watching television puts us into a hypnotic state. They've known this. They have known this. If you look back at, when was it? I think it was around like Cold War time or something around that time. Mainstream media knew this. And they would put subliminal messages into our commercials to basically hypnotize us to buy certain products or to vote for certain people. I'm not quite sure if they used it in politics. I'm sure they used it in politics, but they used it to hypnotically, subconsciously influence the collective's decisions. They've known about this. Television has a direct impact on our subconscious mind, meaning that watching it actively reconfigures how we perceive the world to be, our beliefs about ourselves and our relationships, of our values and our aspirations. So when we're watching the big movies that everyone's watching, the horror films, the thrillers, the action movies, the dramas, sure, they're exciting and fun to watch. What are these movies doing to your mind and physiology? As TV has that direct impact on our subconscious minds, when we watch the dramas that show like this person cheating on the other, right? The fighting, the betrayal. Oh, it's a good and juicy show, sure. But what is it doing to your perception of how you view relationships? On a subconscious level, meaning beyond what you are conscious of, it is programming in your mind that it's not safe to love, that you need to watch your back because you can't trust the people closest to you. It plants seeds into your mind of paranoia, angst, fear, watching the horror and thriller films that everyone loves so much, watching people get killed, beat up, and sometimes even tortured. What do you think this is doing to your mind on a subconscious level? It's some really fucked up shit, honestly. Your mind can't tell the difference between what's real and what's imagined, and really disgusting images are planted into your mind that takes a lot of work to heal from, trust me. Planting more seeds into your mind to always be on edge, to be afraid of the dark, to not trust anyone. More paranoia, more angst, more fear is embedded into your subconscious. You're starting to reflect the behaviors that are being shown. You're starting to perceive the world through the underlying stories that are being told. The music you listen to without a second thought. It provides a subconscious suggestions. Like Carrie Underwood before he cheats. I mean, not to say anything negative about her. This is we love her, right? But the song itself, when we see the way that it affects the mind and the body, it's suggesting more anger, betrayal, and a sense of not being able to trust others in relationships. Something that's so common in our collective. And I wonder why. That's so much of what media is showing. The more you sing that song, the more you're communicating to your brain the message of the song, which is anger of being cheated on. You're diverting your focus to that. Your beliefs around how much you can trust others are being shifted as you jam out to the song in the car. Your beliefs, your belief systems, your values, your perceptions, how you experience life itself are all being shifted, dependent on the songs and media that you watch and consume. These aren't activities that you experience only while you're tuning into them. They have lasting effects on the belief systems, on how you react to others and the world around you. Let's go even deeper and briefly talk about the vibrational effect tuning into these things have on a cellular level. There was a doctor named Dr. Emoto who conducted many experiments on how different types of music affect water molecules. You don't have to be a science nerd to know that the basic science classes we were taught how everything in our world, solid or not, is made up of energy, right? These energetic molecules that make up everything around us all vibrate at different speeds or frequencies. hence the term energetic vibrational frequency that is used a lot in talk of healing Hertz frequency music or quantum physics conversations, which is basically the study of matter and energy. So in Dr. Emoto's water experiments, you could visibly see the effects that the different vibrational frequencies, the different types of music would give off, and how that affected the water molecules. And what was found was very interesting. Music such as classical music and certain sound frequencies that were measured created these beautiful symmetrical looking snowflake crystals in the water when you look at it through a microscope. But music like heavy metal, for example, created very irregular, like misshapen crystals in the water. Like you could see that the water was like distorted on a cellular level. When you think of how human bodies are made up of about 70% water, and you think of the vibrational effect music has on our bodies as the sound frequencies affect our body's vibrational component, you can only imagine how music can either have a very positive effect on our cellular structure or a very negative effect on our cellular structure. This all being said, I'm not saying you have to cut out every show and movie that has any negative connotation and only listen to classical music. I'm not saying that at all. Please do whatever you want. But I am saying to be mindful, very, very mindful of what you tune into. Be aware. Open your eyes to the underlying messages that you're consuming. You literally become what you consume. And so much of what is being put out on mainstream media is stress-inducing and depicts negative belief systems, behavioral and emotional patterns. What are you tuning into? Is it benefiting you? Since I learned this information, I started to become much more mindful of what I tune into. And this is not only limited to TV and music, but like the people I surround myself with, the talk shows, podcasts, social media, anything, right? Since I've become more mindful of this and I started to be really picky about what I tune into, I've literally healed myself from chronic depression and anxiety since a little girl. I generally live a pretty peaceful life internally. Before, I was in and out of toxic, unhealthy, unfaithful relationships, and now I've been able to attract and hold very healthy relationships romantically and in friendships. I always used to have the thoughts in the back of my mind of like, oh, what if I get kidnapped? What if this person has like bad intentions? What if something or someone comes out of the dark? Like, there were always little thought streams of paranoia, not major, but they would be back there, just like paranoid thoughts of this and that. And it's rare that I experience stuff like that now. And no, this wasn't all dependent on shifting, what I tune into. I also did other things to help with this, but it has a massive impact on your subconscious mind, on how you experience life itself. I'll be having like a not so great day, dealing with some kind of negative self-talk. Then I'll jam out to positive affirming music for like an hour at the gym. Mood completely shifted. Perspective on what I'm going through completely shifted. Able to make decisions to get myself out of a cycle or out of a funk way easier. It can be used for really good things, but it's a double-edged sword. This stuff can also be used to destroy, and what I'm seeing across the masses of the general public is a lot of destruction through this stuff. A lot of destruction. A lot of negative beliefs. A lot of planting seeds of fear, planting seeds of paranoia. Oh, be worried about this. Be wary of your neighbors. Don't let someone get too close. Stay in fear. Stay stressed. You need to in order to stay alive, right? It's all survival based. And no, a lot of things might not say this directly like that, but it's the underlying message. It's such a subconscious thing. You are what you consume. Ask yourself before watching or listening to something, do I want to become the energy of this show, movie, song, news channel, etc.? If not, don't tune into it. Just make the decision to not tune into it. What will benefit you? Tune into that. This isn't to say that you're going to become naive to any danger that does exist either and all of a sudden believe that the world is rainbows and butterflies. Like, you can still be aware and think logically of like, oh, I'm not going to walk down that alleyway at 2 a.m. alone. But your primary focus when choosing to only tune into media that you want to become will be shifted to good. Your nervous system can start to regulate back out like a normal human being is meant to exist in this world. Your focus will start to shift to the positive that's happening in the world and around you and in your life and your loved ones' lives. Where your focus goes, energy flows. The more focus you put onto the good, the more you will create that in your life, and it'll cause this enormous ripple effect. Okay, and let's say you have the thought of, but is it wrong for me to not watch the news? Right? To be naive and to pretend nothing is happening when others are suffering. Like, isn't that really shitty? What if I can't do anything about it? At least I would know about it. Okay, it's great if you have these thoughts. Like, you're a great person if you do. You have genuine intentions of just caring for others. And this isn't to say that we're just going to shine a blind eye to what's going on in the world and just not care what's happening if there's destruction happening around the world and we're going to act like nothing's happening. So to make the most positive impact for everyone, I came up with like a little formula on this so you can decide what to do in these situations. And you have to be radically honest with yourself here and be really tuned into yourself. The first question I'll ask, so if you're one of these people who may feel guilty not watching the news, putting a blind eye to what's going on in the world while other people might be going through it, I wanted to ask you, okay, does it benefit anyone for you to watch this happening? Neutral question, okay? Are you able to actually provide help to these people? Does it benefit anyone? If you can genuinely help and send money and fly over, that's incredible, and do something to help. Like, that's amazing. If there is nothing you can do about it, unfortunately, what I really want you to understand is that as a whole, as a collective, it does the world worse. Not only you individually, but as a whole, when you drop your energy down to match the energy of a crisis that's happening that you can't even do anything about. If you want to be of best service of others, if you have that genuine heart, if you want to be the best help to others, you are much better use of the world and help to others when your energy is lifted up, when you are calm, when you are level-headed, when you are grounded. When you tune into crises and your stress levels get activated, again, your decision-making skills drastically decrease. Your health decreases. You lower your entire vibrational energetic frequency. And for what? Just so you know what's going on? You become less useful to those around you just for an extra piece of knowledge of something that's going on across the world. And let's also take note that a lot of times what's being blasted across mainstream media are the negatives. We aren't seeing all the positive things and the beautiful stories and the good-hearted people and events that are taking place around the world also. You're actually benefiting others much more the higher vibrational you are. And this isn't to say that we're putting a blind eye and we're going to act like this stuff isn't happening. Now, if you are able to tune into these things without it wavering and dipping your energy, because it's natural. We're human. We're feeling beings. It's natural when we look at a crisis that's happening for our hearts to hurt, for us to feel like bad for these people. But if you're able to tune into these things without wavering your energy, then by all means, stay educated on every single thing that happens in the world. And I want to also note that that's a more advanced skill. You have to be extremely aware of your thoughts, emotions, and have practiced holding strong energetic boundaries to be able to do that. My main point I'm trying to get across here is the more people we have that are optimistic, happy, at peace, calm, grounded, and hopeful, the better off the world is as a whole. The more hope we have to create a world where people actually get along, where there is much more peace, where we live harmoniously with the earth. How do you think we can ever create any kind of good if we're all frazzled out, if all of our nervous systems are frazzled out all day, every day? We're paranoid of our own neighbors. We're paranoid of our own loved ones. Deep down on the subconscious level, we're stressed out about everything, about work, about money, about rent, about the government. How can we ever create a peaceful planet when we're constantly consuming media that puts us in this state? And if you hear that and you're scoffing, saying, okay, yeah, right, as if that'll ever happen, right? As if peace on earth will ever happen. I want you to simply entertain the idea. What if it were a possibility to create, and let's not even say complete peace on earth, let's just say more peace on earth, okay? What if this were a possibility? If there were any possibility of this happening, of us creating a world where we do live harmoniously and peaceful and all live in so much more abundance, would you put in effort to try and create that world? It just takes one person. It just takes one person to say, I choose happiness despite the stress. I choose love despite the hate. I choose giving despite the perceived sense of lack. For then another person to say, you know what? I want to choose that too. And another person, and another person, and another person. Until you look around, you've got a whole group of people. And they've got a whole mass of people. And more people get on board until soon enough, the people who aren't on board are the ones who are out of their minds. They're the weird ones. Be the change you want to see. I can't tell you the amount of people I've positively impacted through living in this way over the years. And I'm just me. I'm just like this one, like years ago, I just viewed myself as just like this little girl. Like, don't underestimate the power of you, the power of a single person. Even if you can't see the ripple effects yet, choose love, choose happiness, choose peace, and exude that, show others that. Stop tuning into media that honestly poisons your mind and brainwashes you into shifting your focus and believing the world is a horrible and dangerous place. Focus on creating inner peace. Notice what it's like for your body to actually be in a state of calmness and content. And strive for that feeling every day. Make it a non-negotiable, make it a priority. What helps to put your body into a state of calmness and peaceness and contentness and optimism? And do more of that. Train your mind and body into that state day after day until it's just your baseline, so that we can stop making decisions out of fear and start making decisions that will actually bring us and the world as a whole wellness and prosperity. Take your time to notice that person on the street helping out a stranger and realize people are good. Take your time to notice the good heart your neighbor has. To see the people who are creating new environmental inventions that give us hope for more life. The organizations who care so deeply about the animals and protecting our species. Look at all of the love and hope and inspiration and genuinity around you. And you may have to search for a minute, because right now, if you've been tuning into certain things, your mind might be programmed to automatically see the hate and destruction and the war and the fighting. Because our minds are like confirmation biases. But train your mind to see the good. Shift your focus. Calm your mind. Live through your heart. That's power, baby. Fear is not power. Being able to be level-headed and grounded no matter what is going around you, that is fucking power. We need more people who are grounded in themselves, people who can be level-headed in the chaos. We need these people. The outside noise is only going to get louder. Are you going to choose to stay in chaos? Or can you start training yourself, training your mind to be more level-headed and to see the light beyond the darkness of the tunnel? Open your eyes to what may have been brainwashing you to see the world as anything less than beautiful, magical, and miraculous. This is how we can begin creating really like a new way of living, a new earth where people genuinely look out for one another. We take care of the planet and we experience the beauty life has to offer. I just got back from a music festival called Electric Forest. It was in Michigan, like in the middle of a forest. It was all lit up at night. It was really cool. I spent like 4 nights and 5 days there. Had no service. And it was really cool to be disconnected away from society, away from social media. Felt really just nice to just exist in this really cool experience for those few days. And the big messages that Electric Forests, were really planting all around, they were saying like to look out for one another, to spread love, to be giving. It was definitely one of the more like hippie festivals, but I loved it. I was here for it. They had this big willow tree in between some of the stages where and it was called like the giving tree, where you would give one of your belongings in exchange for something else there. Like there were just signs everywhere referencing to respect the planet, to give love. And when I tell you, like there were thousands of people there, thousands and thousands of people there. And they were, because of the environment, because all of the messages of giving and sharing, like people on stage, the DJs would like give messages to like, look at the stranger next to you, like show them love, like share things with your heart, look out for the people by you. Like these messages were all over this place. And because of this, everyone there were the most like loving and kindest people because of the environment, because of all of the messages that were being planted in. Like random strangers, my friend and I were walking and we were saying how bad our feet were hurting because we had been on our feet like all day, every day for like days at that point. And this random stranger who just overheard us was like, oh, I have some Epsom salts. Go soak your feet in these Epsom salts. Let me go grab them from my tent really quick. Stranger having our back. It was something that wasn't even like a necessity. I was in the line for a shower and another absolute stranger was just having conversation with me. And I needed bath soap. I was using my shampoo because I forgot body wash. And she just hands me like multiple bath soaps. It was like, you can just have them. Like so giving. They were maybe out of the, like this is how everyone was there at the festival. Everyone was so giving, was so loving. Like you just walk past somebody and give them a compliment. Like everybody was so like the nicest people. There were maybe like one or two people out of the thousands and thousands who would like get too drunk and say rude things. But other than that, like pretty much everyone was talking to everyone, looking out for each other, picking up trash. Like, and if this group of thousands and thousands of people can live in this way, at least for the duration of the festival, I'm confident we can get even more people to live in this way for way longer. We've got to shift the messages that we are consuming, what we're tuning into, what we're listening to, what environments we're in, what stories we're living by, what energies we're matching by surrounding ourselves with them. Ask yourself, are the things that you're consuming, are they benefiting you? Be honest with yourself. Are they benefiting you? Other than pure entertainment. Think about how it affects your nervous system. Think about how it affects your belief systems. Ask yourself, what are the underlying stories? What are the behaviors that are being shown? Is this benefiting you or may it be harming you? Share these messages with your friends, with your family. Start a movement. Be the ripple effect and be the change you want to see. We don't have to be victim to the outside noise. We don't have to be victim to the bigger things that are going on around the world. You can choose on your own happiness, love, peace, joy. Be the change you want to see, and we can create a whole new way of living. One by one by one by many. All right, thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know how you like this episode. It was really fun to record this. I get so passionate about these topics and I have so many episodes lined up. So please stay tuned. Leave a review if you're on Apple Podcasts. Leave a 5-star review. I'm not sure how you can leave a review on Spotify, but if you can figure that out, feel free to do that. I would absolutely love that to have more people listen to this message. Share it with your friends. DM me on Instagram. Let me know how you liked it. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.